Okay, they're all joining.
You can go, Rodney.
Okay. Yeah, a very good evening, everybody, and welcome firstly to the month of October. And of course, welcome to the Western Cape alumni session for University of Stellenbosch and of course the Business School. I see everybody's in the room. Just have a look here. I see quite a few faces, a few, if I can just request that we all just, if it's not too much to ask, to have our videos on so that we can see who's who in the zoo. If that is okay. Ah, there we go. A warm welcome, everybody. I see Carmen is in the room. Good evening, Carmen. Hi, Miguel. I hope that I've got that right. I've got Yaz there. Nathan, good evening to you. Kiba Lama is there as well. Then we have Valmarie van Skalkwyk. A very good evening to you, ma'am. We move on. We have one Yorkie, Sarah. Noni, we got in the house. Dr. Uyuni's iPhone. Okay, we got the doctor in the house as well. Is that everybody? Can we just get a hi or thumbs up from everybody? We can just unmute and just say hi.
Good evening.
Hello, hello.
Here we go.
Hello.
Welcome everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And of course we have our colleagues in the room as well. We've got we got Tumi Rapiri, we've got Paula, we've got Henry, and of course Carl and Zainab, and they're gonna just journey with us as we navigate our way through the evening. Hope everybody had a good day. Everybody all right? Relaxed? Work was okay? Lekker, that's good.
Good.
Okay, my name is Rodney Brown, so I will be your host for the evening. So I am a past learner. I've done my postgrad in development leadership or leadership development 1 or 2 years ago. It was quite a quite a journey, and I mean you on this trajectory where you have to decide, is it going to be or is it not going to be? And I mean I can tell you now, within a year from now, you'll be able to say, yo, it was worth it. So yeah, just a little bit about myself. I'm a dad. I'm 52. I'm a father of 2. In fact, father of 3. We have a Laat Lameki, a 7-year-old that's running around in the house. But yeah, always good, always refreshing, and there's always the questions as to why study. Why do you want to do all these things at the age of 50? You know what I mean? But then there's that epiphany that tells you, listen, it's never too late to do these type of things. So yeah, I have in front of me my journal that I've kept for the last 2.5 years. And that was the very first day when I started out at Business School Stellenbosch. And the very first day when I asked myself a lot of questions as to why, and why. Because I made some entries on the 13th of the 2nd, 2023, where it says there, I'm very anxious to start the program. I'm excited to see how far I can stretch and push myself. This was on day 1. And then, of course, I also talk about taking a hard think as to why I'm here. Now, that is day 1. And then I'm just going to go into day 282. Okay, this is on the 3rd of the 12th, 2023, where I said, I've just handed in my final assignment of the year and the last one of the journey. And then I also talk about a journey that has become taxing, exhausting. It's become, where you tested yourself and you had a lot of gratitude. And of course, I'm also thankful for the opportunity to grace and the ability to put myself against peers. And then to my family and friends, thank you for the years of love and the light and all the support. And I'm blessed and grateful. And then lastly, today I graduated, 27th of the 3rd, 2024. That was on the 27th of March last year. So those are the little testimonies with regards to how far we've come and why we do the things that we do. And it's like I said, I'm never too old, because I found myself being the 3rd eldest in the class of about 30 odd year, 20 odd year olds, and 30 odd who have their masters and honors and things like that already. And tonight is no different. Tonight we are going to listen to those testimonies and also understand the affirmation as to what has made them, successful in their journeys. So yeah, if I can just spread across the room and just find out, everybody, Carmen, from where are you, by the way, if I may ask?
So I am based in Cape Town.
Okay.
I am currently, I've been working as an admin person with a background in recruitment. And you just get to a point in life where you're frustrated and you think that there must be more, and I want my life to have meaning. So for the last year, I've been on a journey of actually going into the nonprofit space. And I'm currently busy with your nonprofit management course through the Stellenbosch Business School, and just really wanting to change, like do a complete flip around and make an impact. So that's pretty much my story.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. I like that, the NPO space, because it's such an underrated space, or undervalued, you know what I mean, when it comes to tertiary education. Miguel, you look very tense there. Are you right there?
I'm good. Good evening,
Oh,
everybody.
lovely.
I'm just taking notes and writing down things.
Lovely.
I'm from Brackenfell, Cape Town.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I am currently in the engineering field. I actually work for KLS Consulting Engineers, and I'm also trying to pursue the next step on my journey in project
Brilliant.
management. Yeah.
Lovely, lovely. We have Cliff Kibalama. Good evening to you, Cliff.
Hello, Rodney.
Are they? So,
Sorry, I've gotten up to take a bit of a stretch.
no problem. No problem.
Hi,
Just give it-
I'm literally based about a kilometer away from the university. So often during my lunchtime, I actually walk up the hill. I work at Momentum Group and doing business analysis within a center of excellence. So working with a team of data engineers, doing AI automation and a bit of cloud FinOps. Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah, and nice to see you all.
Brilliant, brilliant. Welcome.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Yes, Nathan. Nathan, you've got my son's name, by the way. Good evening, Nathan. Is Nathan still with us? Nathan, are you there? Velmarie van Skalkbeek. Good evening, Velmarie. Velmarie, can you hear us? You're on mute.
Hello, sorry, I
You're on
struggled
mute
to
there,
unmute
Velmarie.
myself. Hello, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Sorry, I struggled to unmute myself there, but it's fine now. My name's Valmarie. I'm also from Brackenfell. I'm in the fertilizer industry. So we manufacture fertilizers, liquid fertilizers in Wellington. And I'm in the new product development and I work in the laboratory. So I did the chemistry side of the fertilizers.
Wow.
You know, so I would like to engage in the MBA. I was thinking to further my studies to go to more into business. Since I've already got the science background, I want to add on to that.
Okay, brilliant, brilliant. Osipembo Lekwa, good evening to you. I can see you, you're smiling. Are you there? Maybe it's a bit of a stage fright there. Andries Marx, good evening to you, sir. Okay, we're gonna give it one more try. Zanele given Gamasa.
Hi. Sorry, my camera seems not to be
All good,
getting
all good
on
from
for whatever reason, so trying to put
Yep.
that on. Hi everyone, my name is Zanele Gamza. I'm in Johannesburg, looking to study at Stellenbosch to advance my studies. I was in the health sector, currently unemployed, but just looking to use this opportunity to study further, better my knowledge, and gain better insights. That's me. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you very much. Noni, good evening to you. That's fine, Carmen, that's fine. Noni?
Good
Here we go.
evening.
Hi, Noni.
Apologies, I will not switch on my camera.
All good?
I am based in Pretoria, and I'm in the project management space, specifically ICT projects. So what attracted me to Stellenbosch was that they offer the MBA in project management. So I'm interested in advancing my studies into taking the MBA in project management. I have started with my application, but I have not completed it. I'm hoping to possibly complete it in the next coming week, because I've had the closing date is the 31st of October. So yes, thank you.
Okay, perfect. In Kabakazi. In Kabakazi, are you with us? There we go. Evening, good evening.
Hi, are we introducing ourselves?
Yes,
I'm
please.
on and
Go ahead.
off. I'm cooking, sorry. Oh, my name is Ngabakazi Maiki. I'm in civil engineering, and I'm looking to do the postgraduate diploma in project management.
Okay, perfect. And then last but not least, I see we got Andries Marx is with us. Andries?
Good day, sir.
Are they,
Yes,
sir? Are they? Good evening, Andries.
good evening. Yes, my name is Andries Marx. Studied architecture recently. Well, for the last couple of years, been in construction and development, and want to further my studies in postgraduate in project management.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. And you are from?
Well, grew up in Zambia, but I'm currently in Paul. Yeah.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Lavinia Uyuni. Good evening to you. Lavinia. And last but not least, Ya. I just see YAA. Ya. Not near, Ya.
Yeah, it's just YAA. It's actually a
Okay.
Ghanaian name. So originally from Ghana, but I know here it means yes in Afrikaans, so it's a different thing. I study here at Stellenbosch. I am completing my undergrad in biotechnology, and I've just always been interested in the business side of biotech. And I also founded my own tech startup, so I have some entrepreneurship experience. I'm looking at doing the PG dip in business management administration next year.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. So, with that being said, we have a room full of experts basically, and people that has been in the space for quite a while. And welcome once again. We've got people from, like I said, Pretoria, Johannesburg. We've got someone that was born in Zambia, Parlit, two Brackenfellers, and of course someone down the road, across from the business school. And of course, yeah, there she says, I'm from Namibia, from the medical field. I did my MM.Ed at Stellenbosch, but interested in another field. Yeah, Lavinia, well done. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. So once again, guys, thank you for your time. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. We are blessed indeed. And yeah, before we move on to our testimonies and of course one of our fellow students, I want to encourage you guys to keep those questions coming. Let's have honest conversations as to our journeys, and of course, you know, there's always that drive to become a bit more what's the word, involved, and you know, and really embrace the business school and the University of Stellenbosch, because ultimately it's one of the, you know, the finer institutions, okay, in the country, in the world for that matter. So without any further ado, I am going to introduce to you one of our colleagues, Tumi Rapiri. She's an MBA graduate in project management, if I'm not mistaken. Tumi, I will leave the rest up to you. She graduated this year. So ladies and gentlemen, over to Tumi Rapiri. Over to you, ma'am.
Oh, no problem, Ronnie. I'm saying morning because I'm just so used to being on video calls the whole day. But hi, my name is Tumi. I'm one of the alumni. My journey with Stellenbosch Business School started in 2022. I hadn't been studying for a while and I was out of the game, and I'd recently moved to Cape Town from Joburg. So then I enrolled in the postgrad diploma is it BMA? Yeah. So that I can just like find my feet, to understand the culture of the school, to understand the teaching styles. And then when I was there, I also joined student bodies because we've got consulting club and other stuff that goes on. just to kind of navigate my way through the studying journey again and like make friends and make contacts. And then I enjoyed it so much, I then pursued my MBA in 2023. And I think most of us from PG DIP, we had a nice friend group, and then we all kind of moved on together. But then the difference, I think with the PG DIP, I did the blended learning. So that is when it's online, and then the last and the first blocks are all on campus. And then for the MBA, I was fully modular. So it was every 2 months or so. You block out a whole week from 8 until 6 p.m. Monday to Saturday, and you come to class at the school. So that's the one that I chose because I kind of like the face-to-face learning and engaging with the teachers. I must say it was a super intense learning experience, but during breaks, you kind of build relationships. You've got access to the lecturers. You can ask questions if you don't know. You use your fellow students as thinking partners and soundboarding. Yeah, you kind of make friends, I guess, because you eat together, cry together, laugh together. So you build those strong bonds that you will need throughout the MBA journey. And also getting to know the lecturers, because at the when you do your research, you have to select a supervisor. So at least you kind of understand the personalities of the lecturers and their strengths, and then it kind of helps you guide you to find a supervisor that kind of meets, or yeah, that has kind of your personality or that would add value to your research. So that was quite helpful. Yeah, so then with the MBA, there's a very strong emphasis on leadership. It goes into the second year, and that's kind of where I think you find yourself doing self-discovery. There's a lot of reflecting that you do, and you kind of navigate your inner soul, you know, to understand what is your purpose and what is your role in society in terms of the greater good. I think a lot of our friends, when they started the MBA, everybody was like, from a career perspective, you want to be CEO or whatever the situation was. Whereas during this particular learning journey, you kind of figure out to say there's so much more to life than climbing the corporate ladder, and kind of what can I do to give back in our country and in society. So the challenges of the MBA, there's a lot of time and dedication involved. You'd obviously have make lots of sacrifices. But it's well worth it. And then I think the other challenge is working in syndicate groups, because the way that the marks are structured, 50% is your own work and the other 50% is group work. So you kind of have to learn how to work with people, how to navigate conflict, how to understand people's personalities. I think in the beginning, we're all frustrated because it's like, for goodness sakes, I'm paying school fees. I just don't need to deal with other people's drama. But I think after the journey, you kind of learn, because in the real world, you never work alone. And you don't choose your team, you are just inherit a team, or you just be part of a team. So it teaches you those particular skills and how to persevere and stuff like that. But it was challenging in the beginning, but then at the end, we kind of got the gist of it. And then we moved together as a team in the second year, because the bond was like super strong. And then the opportunities during the studies, like I said, we've got the consulting club, where it's like a student body run club where we meet together and we kind of do lots of case studies. So in terms of problem solving and stuff, and then you present back to judges and you get marked. And then we'd also like compete against other business schools, UCT. And then we work together with consulting firms like Boston Consulting Group and Deloitte and PwC for those people that are interested in consulting. And then we have those talks and engagements. And also what was nice about that is that it's alumni, current year students, first year, second year. So you also kind of make friends with people. And that's where I got like past papers and tips and tricks on how to do assignments and etc. So yes, it is time consuming, but it adds so much value in terms of that networking. And also in terms of assignments in the MBA, there's a lot of strategic analysis assignments where, so networking in that sense, you kind of get templates from fellow students to be able to help you navigate with projects and PowerPoint slides and case studies, etc. Then there was also this amazing Wisdom and Wine club that you join. So every quarter, one of the wine farms that's associated with Stellenbosch University hosts us, and we talk about sustainability and wisdom related things, and also drink wine, which is our absolute favorite. So it's also kind of a nice coming together of all alumni and current students. So it's like a family reunion. And that's kind of what I like about this university, is that you don't just graduate, or you can graduate and forget and move on with your life. But if you choose, you can stick with the school and attend all of these alumni functions, you know, just from a networking perspective, because you never know in future if you might want someone to help you get into a certain company, or you can help them vice versa. So it's a nice way to stick together after graduating. And then there's also things like the Small Business Academy that you can get involved in. And then there was a project that was run by Innovis, which is based at the Stellenbosch main campus, when they were looking for people to help with mentoring African startups. And that was pretty cool. So it was like a week of my time. But then what happened is MIT MBA students, there was 5 of them, where their elective was to actually come to South Africa and also be part of this mentorship program. So it was super cool that I got to make friends. Like from MIT, I was like, wow, that is so cool, man. Because you only really just hear about it, and you kind of network and get to know each other, and yeah, just to build your circle. And I'm still friends with them today, which is pretty cool. And I stole one of their sweaters. So I can then lie and say I went there. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, so it's all about networking. And then from an electives point of view with the business school, you get to, if your marks or whatever are good enough, you get to go to one of the sister universities around the world. So I chose to go to Lyon in France, where it's like a bunch of exchange student summer program. And yeah, depending what you want. And this whole thing was about wine tasting. So everything's always been serious and academic and stuff with your MBA. I wanted to do something fun, and you know, you only live once. So I got to go there for like a week. So you exchange, so you don't have to pay school fees, but you just have to get your own accommodation and stuff. But it's really, really worth it as well. It was like in the Beaujolais wine region. It was like going on field trips and stuff and tasting the wines. So pretty awesome. And then I also got one of my favorite electives was called Nature in Business, part of the MBA, where we go to a what do you call it, a nature reserve in KZN. And then you go trekking. You sleep under the stars. There's a group of 7, so you go around the nature reserve with 2 guards and stuff. And it's like a close-knit group, and it's literally just about learning from nature and how it's all interconnected, and your impact and influence as a human being. And there's certain leadership skills that we can learn from nature, and also in terms of collaboration, that without the dung beetle that takes the rhino's dung or whatever, like the way the whole ecosystem works, and you really immerse yourself. There's no phones, no nothing. It's 4 days. And then you pack everything in your backpack, and we all split the load in terms of pots and food and all of that stuff. And the only way we could tell what time it was every evening, the Emirates flight from the airport was at 7 p.m. So we all knew, oh, it's 7 p.m. And we made fires and just reflected and told stories. So there was a lot of, really enjoyed that elective. And then I was lucky enough to go to ISM in Norway, where we spent 2 weeks consulting with a chocolate manufacturing company. And the case study was, because it sells B2B, they wanted to connect with the customers. So kind of building a digital platform, and like there was all bunch of exchange students from Australia and Germany and stuff, and Peru. So it was pretty cool to also make friends from across the globe. And then with the syndicate groups, they all mixed each other up. So you didn't have anyone in your country. Yeah, so you also get to learn how to work with a real diverse team, and learning each other's languages, which was pretty cool. So that's very memorable for me, and yeah, highly recommended. And then just from an impact perspective, so after all is said and done, and all the wine tasting and the fun times and the research papers that you do, you kind of now have to say, you know, now what? You can go back to your job and continue as normal and climb the corporate ladder, or you can say, you know what can I do to help, you know, the country or African continent as is. So for me, what I did is that, because we all know of the employment problem in South Africa, and we don't really support entrepreneurs enough and small businesses. So I was like, okay, well, my purpose in life, I love helping people. And from a skills perspective, I'm very resourceful. I've got like network connections with good companies, and also I'm very good at strategic stuff. So I opened up a company where I specialize in helping small businesses and entrepreneurs to try and scale or improve their strategic goals, in essence, to try and get funding from banks or from angel investors, etc. So that's kind of my side hustle that I do on the side to help that. And it's opened so many doors for me, and all these conferences and stuff that you attend. And I also work the normal job 8 to 5 with Sanlam, but at least I'm able to use my talent and skills and the connections that I have to help other people so that they can be successful, and in my small way to help South Africa solve its unemployment problem. So that's been pretty cool. Yeah, so that's basically my journey in a nutshell that I wanted to share with you guys. But if there are questions, I think Rodney will get them at the end. But I'm also happy to answer the questions. So as you can see, I'm still actively involved with the school. I think I just like being busy, but I am, yeah, part of the Alumni Association, and yeah, I'm still around.
Oh,
Thanks.
brilliant, brilliant. To me, it says there at the bottom of this picture, it says Directors Award winner, and I mean that doesn't come cheaply, And there's one or two things I've actually made notes, and you talk about reflection, quite a lot of that on most, or in fact on all the programs that we do offer at the business school. And of course, you talk about tolerance, and especially when that in that first few days or few weeks or few months where you actually get to know someone really well, because it's like going on a camping trip or going with friends or with family, and it's a different thing when you actually start spending time with them, and then you can see how people break down. You can see how vulnerable they are. Like you said, you were crying together, you were laughing together. At the end of the day, you walked the podium together. But in the beginning, there's a lot of questions to me, a lot of soul searching, a lot of honest questions that you need to ask yourself. But why? I could do something else with my life. But why am I here? What, And there's a lot of doubt, that anxiety of wanting to do well, And I suppose, like I said once again, well done to you. And I mean, it's just about perseverance, Eito, it's as they say in Afrikaans, Eito vermoë. Right. If there's any questions, any comments from the floor? And welcome, Sarah. Welcome from Kenya. A very warm welcome to you. Anybody want to add anything? Maybe a comment or two?
Maybe just a question for.
Here we go. There's a question from Cliff.
Sorry.
Good evening, Cliff.
Ladies
Just
first.
across the road.
Okay, now I just wanted to ask Tumi, what was the transition like from the PG dip to the MBA? And if you had an opportunity to do it again, would you still do the PG dip before the MBA?
Yes, totally. So with the PG dip, because it's kind of like a mini MBA without the research, and because okay, so I hadn't studied for a long time because I've got like my qualification is in finance. So I was also a little bit nervous to say, oh God, and even the research, I felt a little bit overwhelmed. I'm like, okay, well, let me just eat this elephant one bite at a time. And the other benefit is that you also get credits. So if you choose to continue and do an MBA, you get credited for, especially in your first year, for, I think, is it 5 subjects or 4 subjects? So the nice thing is that when other people are stressing because they're doing the MBA and they have all these subjects that they need to do and all these assignments, I'm like, I've done it already. So I don't have to, or I'm not as stressed as people that haven't done it. And also I can space my time out nicely and even my assignments out nicely. So that was the nice benefit there. I would totally do it. And it's not a waste, because there's also elements in the PG dip, because they talk a lot about future studies in PG dip and design thinking, which wasn't really covered in the MBA. So It's not like it's a waste of money at all. And you also understand the culture of the school, and you know how the tests are done and stuff. So you like nothing is new. Or like we use when we do the test online, there's a certain system that we use. So I was very comfortable in that. And then I knew that I would do well in my MBA because I'm comfortable, and that anxiety was killed. So that was pretty awesome. And then also making friends that I can then also lean on second years and stuff and ask them for their past papers and ask them for their advice for the journey that they walked before me. So at least when I started my MBA, I had that advantage that I knew how the papers, because of course everything is all about marks at the end of the day and the assignments. So I was very comfortable, and I'd already had friends when we moved on. So I had that support structure. So even if things were terrible and I was crying, but it's like, I made it before, I can do it again. And we're all together in this. I'm not alone. So for me, I absolutely, I'm so happy that I did it that way. And I could also then support my fellow colleagues who were stressing and crying, especially with stats, businesses, because you get credit on marketing, business statistics, and other stuff. I can't remember because it was quite a while back. So especially with stats, I could help other people to say, okay, fine, try it like this. This is how they ask the questions. Here's some past papers. So I could be that support for them. So I think that's why they chose me as class captain, because I kind of had that foresight, or that advantage that I already done all of this stuff, and I had a lot of time on me when they were stressing, so I could help out.
Oh, brilliant to me. And there's a question from Sarah that she wants to know about age limit.
Age limit.
Yeah, she's excited about what she hears, you know what I mean? But she also wants to know about an age limit.
Oh,
for the program.
It was so cool. We had like a nice demographic in our MBA. So the youngest person was 27, two 27-year-olds that were studying full time. And I was like, you guys are lucky. The one was a doctor, but she didn't get placed, or she couldn't get a job. So she was working locum. And then another guy, Lawrence, he was actually top student. They both won top student awards, which obviously because they were studying full time while the rest of us were kind of balancing work and that. And then he was a lawyer, and then he went into MBA. That was the youngest, and then I think the oldest was almost 60. There was a couple of older, two people. And then one of them was Mani, who was my absolute favorite. He was in our syndicate group. And he actually worked in Nigeria for the Bill Gates Foundation, and then he came down for Block Week. And I loved his insight and wisdom, yes, some people are overwhelmed when it comes to Excel, because like, oh my God, I've never used Excel, I've never used PowerPoint, but they're so good in introspection, in analysis, or in deep thinking. So you kind of lean on their knowledge on that for those particular assignments. That's why 50% is individual and 50% is group. And then when we have a group assignment, the ones that are good at numbers do the numbers element, presentations, they do that. So it's a benefit. So there's definitely no age limit. And I think it would be nice for more older and more experienced people to be in that, because there's a lot of reflection, insight, and business knowledge that you kind of need that will help you navigate through the strategic work. Whereas if you're fresh, let's say out of university, and you haven't really worked, things will not land as deep as they do if you actually have been walking that road and you understand the challenges in business. So yeah, definitely no age. And I think it's nice to have a nice spread. But that's how we had it in our, I think the median was between 35 and 40 in our MBA class. There was, how many? I think 90 of us with the modular, never mind blended. I don't know how many they were. So it was a nice even spread. And the youngest year was 27, and then the other two was around closer to 60.
Oh, brilliant to me. And I think with that also, on the PG, there's quite a few people, students or learners that come in as RPL, which almost, with the older students, they bring a calmer, almost calmer presence because of their learning, or at least their lifelong learning experience, their lived experiences. So they bring a bit of a calming situation down to the cohort, at times. because at
Yes.
times we are, the exuberance of youth sometimes get the
Yes.
better of the students, So yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much for that, to me. If there's nobody else, I think there was a hand. Oh yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, well done, brilliant, nicely done there, to me. And I see there's a question also from Zanele. But I think Henry he's probably there's a request that you need to email. There's a question Zanele wants to know. She did a PG dip at a different institution, and the Henley Business School, which is quite a remarkable institution. Does this get credited into the MBA? So I can't answer that as of yet, but there is a communication happening there between Zanele and Henry. And then she says, "You are hilarious, to me, and thank you for sharing your inspirational journey." What? Yeah, brilliant. Okay, we're going to move on swiftly, and our next guest, ladies and gentlemen, honored students, is a young gentleman who's done his MBA. He's a graduate in project management, and he's also done a postgrad diploma in project management. So without any further ado, I'd like to welcome Mr. Kyle Loff. Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, Rodney. Thank you so much. You know what? Listening to me, I want to go do my MBA again. Just listening to her, I was like, wow. Like, and I'll tell you why. Because what she was talking about, going and camping out in the stars and going to this place and that place, I was one of the fortunate or unfortunate students that actually did it during COVID. So at the time where, to me, you were fortunate to go and explore and do things. We had lockdowns, and we had we had to actually be forced to stay indoors. So that was quite interesting. But let me give you a different perspective on things in terms of, now Tumi and I have both done our postgraduate studies, and how it's actually shaped my career trajectory and leadership path that I see. I think just to start off with, the way Tumi just spoke now, for me, was evident of someone that had actually attended the business school. The way that she spoke about reflection, about how we're not just here to climb that corporate ladder. If that's what you think the business school is going to instill in you, you actually have something that will surprise you. But before I jump into it, so just a bit about myself. Rodney explained that he was a husband, father of, I think, two, you said, Rodney. I'm father of one. I'm also a civil servant. So for those that mentioned project management, I'm part of the International Project Management Association. So that's what I fill some of my part-time with. I'm the young professional or young crew, so that's 35 years and younger. I'm not in that category, unfortunately, but I'm the one that's still spearheading that. I'm also a board member and fortunately also a lecturer at the business school. Now, before we actually start in terms of how it shaped my career, I just want to check. I don't know if the sound is sharing. Let me just stop sharing and share again. I want you to hear. So this that I'm about to share is a reflection of my coding. So this was done in 2020, January 2020. Just confirm that you can hear.
Hi, I'm Kyle. So reasons that I'm doing the MBA, number one, which is most important to me, is changing the way I think, the way I see things in this world, within my life and in my career as well. I find that changing the way you think helps with your growth. That's number two. I would like to grow as a person, maturity-wise, knowledge-wise, and also just understanding the world a bit better. Through understanding the world a bit better, I know that I will be able to influence people, and that's number three for me. To grow in the sphere of influence that I may have in South Africa and Africa as a whole, we find that it will be good.
Okay, so at a minute in order to do that, and my friend that was busy recording was telling me, okay, you need to wrap up. The point I'm wanting to make here is I looked at myself and I was like, wow, I looked younger. So it's not that the MBA has aged me. It's a lot of things that have aged me. But this was just looking back, and Rodney, I think thank you for your note that you put down in terms of your journal that you shared. And I think this is a video journal that I had to record. I think maybe just before I jump into how it shaped me, to me, you when you spoke now, a few things came up. The one was a story of conflict. So I'd also done my postgrad in BMA, and I specialize in project management. I am a geek for project management. That's why I lecture on project management and supervise master students as well. But right at the start of this career that I had in terms of my MBA, I have an A-type personality, so I want to take charge. I want to lead and I want to guide. And I'm like, I've done the BMA now. I've done the postgrad. I know the system. There's a new group that I'm part of. I'm just going to jump in and take the lead. And that's actually quite not a rude awakening, a surprise awakening, let me rather say that, because the first moment I'm like, okay, so this is how we're going to structure the assignments. This is how we're going to do this. It's going to be easier if we just engage on a Wednesday after class. And I'm giving them all these key points. And one of the guys I could see was visibly frustrated. And he looked at me and he's like, I think you need to give us all a chance to also pitch in. And that was like the first sort of conflict that I had. And I thought it was good because I was taken aback by it, because here I am overwhelming people, and I was forced to reflect on, okay, I should actually maybe take that step back and allow we quite good friends now. So let me start with this in terms of my leadership journey. I don't think it would be fair of me to speak about a business school without having some form of a quote. For those of you that will be signing up, you'll know that for the lecturers that are there, they will be putting a whole bunch of quotes and things, but essentially all big things come from small beginnings. The interest that you have now in terms of wanting to go, for those Zanele, Miguel, Carmen, Noni, Kubazi, and Andres that spoke about what it is you wanted to do. This is that small beginning. So that seed of every habit, that single tiny decision is going to help grow things. That decision is repeated. So wanting to sign up is going to be the start of that. Signing up is then the next step. I think one of you had mentioned that you are in the process of that. So as you move through that roots then entrench themselves and branches grow. The task of breaking a bad habit is like uprooting a powerful oak within us. And the task of building a good habit is like cultivating a delicate flower one day at a time. And that's essentially what the postgraduate studies does. It allows us to break down those bad habits, because studying part-time, and Rodney spoke about it earlier as well, is why do you want to study if you're at this age or whatever? It's about changing how you see things, how you think. And through doing that, it allows you to actually break those bad habits and start focusing on the things that's going to give you those positive interactions. But my postgrad journey, so my postgrad was in 2019 to 2020, and that's essentially where I built my foundation and also learned discipline. The question I think one of you asked about the transition from postgrad to MBA, I think I did 15 modules. This was before they revamped the postgrad. The postgrad is no longer 15 modules. Do not stress yourself out about that. But I did 15 modules in a year. So it felt like things were just going crazy day after day after day. And then thereafter, I decided to do the MBA, and that's where I deepened my leadership ability, looking at strategy. Tumi spoke about that already in terms of how we actually are exposed to strategic thinking. I think another thing that it also develops is resilience, because you cannot take on part-time studies if you're not going to develop some form of resilience within yourself personally, in terms of how you operate in the workspace, in life, and all of that. And I think it's so beautiful, because if you heard what Tumi was speaking about, starting an own company, and how that has actually helped to grow things, because once you're done studying part-time, you're gonna, whatever task is gonna come your way work-wise, you're gonna be like, yeah, sure, I can take that on. And then I'm putting it there, but it's still a work in progress, is my PhD. So these are things that I am working towards. So I've completed the two top two and the bottom one is something that I do have in progress. Let me move quickly. So I went from student to practitioner, lecturer, and I don't see myself as a thought leader, but I'm putting it out there as an aspirational thing. So at work, and one of you mentioned that you're in between jobs. I went from private industry into becoming a civil servant during my postgrad. I am the head of a project management unit where we focus on maturity, project excellence, and all of that. And then from a community perspective, I think that's the one thing Stellenbosch Business School focuses on shaping and developing responsible leaders. And that is where I mentioned earlier that I geek out about project management. So I engage with the undergraduates, specifically in the engineering space, for project management, and we're hoping to expand that. And then I also in academia, postgraduate students. So those of you that mentioned project management, I do lecture on that. And there's actually a webinar, or I think it's a webinar that we're doing tomorrow on how to rescue a failing project in an hour. So that's going to be around this time tomorrow evening, but Henry will share all of the details with you in the chat. So this is just a bit of leadership growth that I have. The key lessons. So I think Tumi's already spoke about this. That teamwork that's required, not having a choice of who you're going to be partnered up with, I think is a very important thing. And it helps you to just allow yourself to, again, to the first point, develop a form of discipline, because sometimes you're going to have to give some form of constructive feedback to team members, and I think sometimes we need to develop that. There's structured thinking, reflective. So Tumi spoke about that and Rodney highlighted that. The one thing that they instill in you is to be reflective in terms of your actions, in terms of how it is you're going to think about things. I think one great thing from an MBA point of view is, so with Artscape, we were fortunate to help them develop their first marketing strategy for the organization in their, I think it's 50 years of existence. So that was really cool to actually be a part of. PepsiCo, there was a specific brand that we helped to rebrand within South Africa, and that was quite a cool little pitch and workshop that we needed to do, and that was part of my elective week that I needed to do in Cape Town, not in Lyon. Unfortunately, I did not go and enjoy tasting some wine. Although I must say, there was plans to visit South African wine farms, but the night before we were supposed to start, we had one of those, I don't know if you'll recall those family meetings where our president on a Sunday evening would then say, okay, we are going from level 3 to level 4, from level 2 to level 3. That happened the night before we were supposed to start. And they stopped alcohol sales and they stopped visiting wine farms the night before my elective week was supposed to start. I was so bummed out about that. Anyway, let me continue. I digress. I think the one other thing was also COVID. It definitely was a time of uncertainty. We've been through it now, but I think it was something that was definitely something we needed to navigate. I was in a very unique position where I was doing my MBA, but also part of a team that was responding to the COVID pandemic on behalf of the city of Cape Town. So integrating lessons that I'd learned during my MBA came very timelessly for the work that I was doing at the city. And I mean, I've spoken about a whole lot of things, but it's about both of those things in terms of postgrad and MBA. It's about balancing my career. So I have multiple, let me call them careers, and then studying as well. I think I'm going to continue to be a lifelong learner. And then the most important thing, which is also great about the business school, is they speak about the balance and the focus of actually getting re-energized with family, with loved ones, with friends, because it is unsustainable to go and do something part-time, to go and study and to not get recharged, because you need to recharge, you need to sleep, you need to exercise, all of those good things. In terms of reflections and advice, I mean, we are reflecting, but trust yourself. You do belong in the room. I will say first and foremost, the way I'm speaking now, I struggled with imposter syndrome. I'm not supposed to be where I am. And I dealt with that for a very long time. So for you guys that are going to be applying for next year or thinking about it, let me just reinforce it and say you do belong in the room. In terms of postgraduate, it's not just about knowledge, but networks. Tumi spoke about that, about tapping into your networks. The one great thing, and I'll share a good piece of, so the current role that I have, I went to someone that I look up to and that's more of a strategic thinker than I am. One of the things that I needed to do was to develop a presentation in terms of specific strategic things. And because of the network that I'd established, I got great advice from him that helped me to actually shift my thinking from an operational mindset into more strategic. As you can see, I'm not saying this with it, but the confidence that also comes with it and that identity shift. Going back to point one, you do belong in the room. So when you walk with that ownership of I belong here, it shifts your way of thinking. And then balance, I spoke about that already, so I'm not going to touch on that. And then just to go back to the first quote that we had by James Clear, transformation happens step by step. So don't expect, and Tumi spoke about, or I don't know if it was you or Rodney that spoke about that elephant and taking that elephant bit by bit by bit. Don't expect to immediately have that shift, maybe right at the start. It might happen in the middle, it might happen at the end, it might even happen afterwards. So just note that. And with that, thank you so much.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you very much, Carl. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. I mean, I've heard Carl speak on quite a few occasions, and every time I listen to you, Carl, it just becomes a bit more inspirational. And Arsenal, I also want to go and do it again. No, brilliant. And very, very important. Carmen, thank you very much for that. We all belong in the room. All of us are books waiting to be written. I'm not sure who of you are authors here, but everybody always talks about, hey, I must write a book. I've got so much material. I want to write a book and I want to do this and I want, we are all books waiting to be written. It's just a matter of taking that step, like you just said, Carl. And that is so important. Two very important things that you have highlighted is resilience. And I think it is always a testing period when all those odds are sometimes stacked against us for whatever reason, whether it's budget or financial constraints, whether it's personal issues, whether it's work-related issues, whether it's relationship issues, whether it's just another thing that is bothering you to me. There's always something that you want to have an excuse for. But you're talking about the COVID period that we didn't know if we were coming or going. And I mean, here we have a testimony of just one tip of the iceberg of how that resilience has shone through. And then number two, it was, that with the business school, like you said, it teaches us about having that whole balance, whether it's yourself, the me, or, the world, the work, and of course, how we all encompass all of the pressures, the stresses, the challenges, and ultimately the successes, how we encompass all of those things that comes through resilience. And what Tumi said earlier about, in fact, what Carl also said about the networking that happens in the alumni and with those students, because you become very, very, very good friends at some stage. In the beginning, there's a hustle and bustle of wanting to understand and sussing each other out for that first session. And then ultimately, it's about that slow progress. After a while, you start realizing, no, but Carl is not such a bad oak. He's actually someone that I can link on, you know what I mean? So yeah, Clifford, I mean, just to come back to I mean, you just across the road. Yeah, and Miguel, anybody got any thoughts? Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Any thoughts? I mean, that is really inspirational. I mean, just go to some of the comments. Yeah, Sarah says thank you and truly inspirational. Yeah, that was brilliant. I mean, we in a room full of expertise and excellence. And there, Noni says, I needed that reassurance. You trust yourself. You belong in the room. It brought so much confidence in this big step I want to see. No, brilliant. And like I said earlier, a year from now is such a short space of time. And once you start taking that step and say, that's it. Once you sign up and you commit it. My son has got this saying about why do we say that there's what is this now? If the sky is the limit, why was there footprints on the moon? You know, he's got the saying. And I always thought about it, my word, and he's only what, 20. And I thought to myself, yo, what is this boy talking about? Which talks about the opportunities. We saw that, Carl, we saw that young man, we saw that young man. Brilliant. So yeah, any comments there? Any comments from your side?
Okay. Comment, you can go. Go for it.
Yeah, comment.
Yeah, so I actually just wanted to say that both Timmy and Kyle, the information that you've shared has really been inspirational. Sorry, it's very noisy here. I'm at a talent show at the school. But yeah, so just thank you for being so honest and upfront about your experiences, and then what are the things that you would be facing if we go through with this.
No, brilliant. Thank you for that, Carmen. Thank you very much. Thank you. Miguel, you look very, very excited.
Yeah, I am. Thank you, Carl.
Brilliant.
And to me, I really do appreciate all the insight and information. Carl, from your background, and to me, so I got Carl's profile open here on LinkedIn. I got Mr. Kuninel as well. I'll be talking
Yes.
to me soon. I'm just going down through your education, and it says that you did your postgrad in business administration and management.
Yes.
The transition between that and project management, how did it go about that?
No, so my initial plan was to go straight into MBA, but my company at the time said they're willing to only fund a postgrad. And I
Okay.
think my thinking was I'm already in project management. I was working for a defense manufacturing company specializing as a project manager. I'd already done training and that in project management at the business school. So
Okay.
my thinking was to shift from an engineering focus into a business focus. So I wanted to change my thinking, and I continued that journey through the MBA.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So for me now at this moment, I'm obviously in the electrical engineering field.
Mm-hmm.
I've been working for more than 15 years in the field. I would like to make the change, and I also wanted to find out or ask information about the RPL program,
Mm-hmm.
and how do I apply for that, and what makes my chances better at the end of the day.
Okay, so Henry will be able to, and I think you will share his contact details. He'll be able to guide you on the RPL. In
Okay.
terms of changing your way of thinking, if you're not going to go onto YouTube and have dedicated structured process to actually do that, you're going to fail dismally because you don't actually have a plan on how to do that, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that made me choose, not just the fact that the business school is like a stone's throw away from where I live, but it was also a case of I want to change how I think. And the
Yeah, no,
structured
definitely.
process that the business school and how the programs are set up does that for you. I mean, bar none, it helped me.
No, okay. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And then I wanted to ask, I'm not sure if this is the right platform or in tomorrow's session with Dr. Kuni. Is it Dr. Kuni? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me just open this tab quickly. Let me just see, where is this? Sorry, guys. Okay, so I had a question about if I do go through and I do get accepted and stuff like that. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Listening.
Oh, so obviously in the first year, you have the 4 modules, right? That you need to do, and you need to choose between the 2, organizational behavior and then managing
Successful projects.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do the 4 in your first year, and then in the second year add one of the other 2 modules?
Okay, I won't be able, I'm gonna lie to you if I answer you now. Let's save that question for tomorrow's session. And Henry will also then be able to prepare a better answer and give you guidance on that.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, Carl, thank you very much. Miguel, thank you very much for that.
Carl, thank you for that. If I could just interject. So if you do the postgrad diploma in project management in 1 year, you do all 8 modules. If you do it in 2 years, you do 2 foundational modules and 2 specialization modules. So you'll have 1 module a term. If you do it in 1 year, you have 2 modules a term to make up 8.
I hear you, but in the first year, or you have obviously you need to choose between the 5, if I'm not mistaken. Or am I reading it incorrectly?
Are you referring to an MBA or to a PGDIP?
A PGDIP.
No, we've got set modules. You get 4 foundational modules and 4 specialization modules.
Okay.
So if you do it over 2 years, you remember, if you do it over 2 years, you get 4 modules year 1 and 4 modules year 2.
Okay, I don't know if I can share my screen.
Okay. Tell you what, Miguel, pop me an email, then we can have a one-on-one session tomorrow.
Okay, no problem.
Cool.
Thank you.
Cheers, bud.
Thank you very much for that, Miguel. I can already see you in class. You are actually in class. In fact, all of you are in class. This is just a precursor, man. So precursor.
I mean, we got responsible leaders over here.
Yeah. Nah, this is like a brilliant. Anybody else want to add any comments, any questions? I'm not too sure what session is tomorrow, but yeah, just keep them coming. Got a couple of minutes. There was a question about accommodation in our comment section, and yes, there is accommodation, and I think Henry touched on it in our comment section as well. We do not offer accommodation to students, but you need to get your own accommodation, obviously. But there's a list of accommodation in and around the business school itself, within walking distance. Yep. Right. If there's nothing else from any of our students or our fellow colleagues, Lindy, I see Lindy has joined us. Good evening, Lindy.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm very well. You sneaked in by the back door.
Sorry?
You sneaked in by the back door. I hope you caught all the comments and the presentation that was done earlier.
No, my network was acting up, so I just managed to join in now.
Oh, okay. Now, welcome.
Yeah.
Now we had some testimonies of 2 of our students that did that are both graduates in the MBA, on the MBA program, and of course the postgrad program as well. And we've got a few prospective students in the room. So we were just busy getting to know everybody, and yeah, but welcome once again. I think Henry, if the recording is available, we can actually send it to Lindy. Is that correct?
Yes, 100%.
Yes, please.
Yes, 100%. I've just put my email addresses, so just pop me an email. But anyway, we will send the recording to everybody.
I think there is Umlauti also.
Thank
you. Late entrance.
Just a quick one, Roddy, just before we wrap. I know tomorrow everybody's going to be is excited about the project management one. Carl, just a quick teaser there.
Okay, cool. So I'm now trying to okay, so what we're going to discuss is it's going to be an interview style where I'm going to be guided by Dr. Kuninal. He's going to be facilitating a discussion from a theoretical point, but then also I will give the practical industry experiences on a project that I'm actually rescuing. So it just so happens that there is a project that has failed and I'm in the process of rescuing it. So I'm going to touch on that, not to give too much detail away now.
Thank you, Carl. And I think that's the brilliance about project management, Miguel, is that you can actually salvage a lot of, in fact, you can come up with the solutions, whether it's a project at home, whether it's a project in church, whether it's a project at work, there's always ways and means to, to salvage the situation. All right, it's just gone 7:05. And if there's no other comments or questions, then I'd like to say thank you to our guests, who were you, the students. In fact, our guests, our students, everybody, and of course our colleagues. Thank you very much to me, and Kyle. Thank you very much to you for your testimony and for the excellence that has been part of, that has made Business School Stellenbosch such a unique institution. And yeah, and I want to say thank you to Henry for facilitating this, and of course Zainab is also in the room, and Paula, who I think may have left, and to you, our students, our colleagues, future colleagues. I'm writing that into existence. We're speaking it into existence. Very important. If there's nothing else from your side, I just want to say thank you, Clifford. Thank you, Miguel, Belbury. Thank you, Adesina, Zanele. Yeah, thank you very much. Noni and Kabasi, Andres Marks, Sarah from Kenya. Thank you very much for gracing us with your presence. Lindy, who sneaked into the back door, and Malautsi, Lavinia Uyunu, and of course, Nathan. Thank you very much, guys. And without any further ado, I bid you a good week, a blessed evening, and please, we'll see each other next year this time when we walk the podium. All good.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
So-
you. See you guys next year. Bye.